Hey there, it's John from Heroes and Legends, and I have this week's comic book haul. So it's a medium-sized haul this week. We'll jump in, start looking at the books. First one is Batman and Robin Eternal. This is a weekly series. This is number 2. I mentioned last week, I'm not a huge fan of the weekly series. They're hard to keep up with, but there's some I've really enjoyed in the past. If you ever read 52, the original weekly serial that they did a few years back. I even liked Countdown. A lot of people didn't like Countdown, but I thought it was good. I like the original Batman Eternal. It was just kind of hard to keep up with it, so is what it is. Once I get a couple issues in, I'll let you know what I think about this one. I'm going to try to keep up with it anyway. And let's move on to some Valiant books. We got Ninjak number 8, The Shadow Wars. Great work with Valiant. I love what they've been doing. You know, I think sometimes, I don't know, people discount Valiant because of the 90s kind of wackiness, the stereotype that these characters bring to mind, I suppose. Those folks that used to read comics in the 90s. But I'll tell you, I mean, Valiant in the early 90s was good. I mean, as it went on, it got a little more out there, as did everything. So I don't know if that's really fair, especially considering the great creators they put on these books. So there's Ninjak number 8. We also got Exo Manowar came in this week. This is number 41. This is kind of the flagship book. It's been going on for a number of years now. And I do think Valiant will get some more attention once they get like a motion picture or television deal worked out and you see their characters in other media. And finally, we have Unity number 3, which is by James Osmus. Great writer. Awesome stuff. If you haven't read his stuff in the past, he is fantastic. Did a great run on Thief of Thieves. Really good. This is a Revenge of the Armor Hunters, which is kind of a throwback to a mini event they had about a year ago. All right, back to Marvel. We got Star Wars Shattered Empire. So this is number 3. This is coming out every week, but I think it's only about 4 parts. Written by Greg Rucka, so that's awesome. And it explores the time between Return of the Jedi and the new movie that'll be coming out. So the preview, one of the trailers, a longer trailer for the new movie came out on Monday, a couple days ago. So check that out if you haven't seen it. But I think it's kind of cool they're starting to explore some of those characters that we'll be seeing in the movie. It's kind of interesting. So, and Greg Rucka is awesome. All right, Captain America White. This book is another weekly book. What is going on with weekly books? So, again, I think this is a short one, maybe 4 or 5, 6 parts. I'm not really sure, but these are awesome. I'll tell you, Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale too, and neither of them do a whole lot, but when they come out and do something, it's awesome. So, Jeff Loeb, kind of like Jeff Johns for DC, he's the liaison for the television departments for Marvel, so he works with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that stuff. So he doesn't get to write that often, but when he does, he kind of pops in here and there, and he does a fantastic job. A few years back, he did awesome work on Batman Superman. That was a number of years ago now. And he also did Ultimate X. If you've never read that, check that out. It was back when the Ultimate Universe was still a thing, and it was incredible. That should have been a television series. It was a 5-part miniseries, but definitely, I'm sure there's a trade for that. All right, so Batman number 45, Scott Snyder, Capullo. I say this every month, not crazy about the Jim Gordon storyline, but Snyder's still knocking it out of the park. This is still one of the best books out there, so don't be afraid to pick it up, even if the concept's a little out there, and it's only temporary. Bruce Wayne always comes back, and I'm sure he will soon, but this is really good stuff. So, you know, it's nice to have a different take on a story. Snyder has done so many classic Batman stories in the last few years. Now he's getting to delve into a different character a little bit, so it's not horrible by any means. It's winning me over a little bit, but only because he's just such a great writer. All right, this has been my pick of the week the last 2 months, I think. So I didn't make it the pick of the week this week, just to give some other books a chance. But Insufferable number 6, Mark Waid. I talk a lot about this book, so I'm not going to talk too long about it this month. If you're not reading it, read it. This is incredible stuff. This was actually a web comic, so you could probably actually go on the web and read the whole thing and not wait for the issues. But I love the web comic so much, I wanted to get the actual paper issues, and there it is. This is also probably the only book right now that I buy that I pick up the alternate cover, and there you have it. So you know, I used to be ultimate cover crazy, but I just feel like it's not a good investment long term. And you know, I pick and choose my alternate covers. This one I do get because I just love this book so much. It's incredible. And it's number 6. I don't know how many issues there's going to be, since it is something that's already finished. I don't know if it's super long. I don't really remember, because the webcomics were broken into really short parts. They weren't like a full book when you read a part of the serial. But there you have it. Let's move on to our picks of the week. So this is our number 3 pick of the week. Is JLA number 4. So this I talked about last month a little bit, and let me kind of tell you my journey with this book. So, Bryan Hitch, as a writer, I was a little skeptical, but I bought issue 1 because I do love his art, and I'm like, well, let's check it out. And I was pleasantly surprised. Number 2, I felt like his writing felt a little jilty to me. It didn't flow real well. I wasn't super impressed with it. But then I read 3, and 3 just started to clean up a little bit and got smoother. So here's 4. I'm sticking with this, and I've really enjoyed it. 3 really kind of turned me back around on it. You know, he's learning to, you know, do something different. I mean, he's been an incredible artist for many years. He's going to have a few, you know, tripping points, I'm sure, when it comes to writing on a big book like this, but he's been, you know, really working through it, and I really like it. So it's a unique story. It's a little different than what's been going on in the regular Justice League, which is a little more epic. I mean, still awesome, but just a different type of story. But yeah, definitely check this out. All right, Brian Michael Bendis. You knew he had to show up somewhere. Guardians of the Galaxy number 1. So a few things let me say about this book. So Brian Michael Bendis been writing this book really since it launched around the time, or I should say relaunched around the time the movie came out, when they used the new lineup that was the characters from the movie, so on and so forth. He's done a really great job with this book. He's been incredible. He's just one of the best writers in the industry. One thing that sometimes I scratch my head, though, about this book, and I don't know where this is coming from, if it's coming from Bendis or if it's coming from Marvel in general, wanting to work different characters in. You have this core group of Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, granted, the past number of years, the team's changed a million times. There's been 1,000 different members. But once that movie came out, I feel like they kind of need to settle down and focus in on the core members that we know and love. And they kind of do that, but they keep kind of intermixing random people in, and they don't really tell you why they're there. If you've read the first kind of arc, or well, before it was reset, I should say, not really arc, but you had characters show up like Tony Stark. Iron Man was on the team for a little while. Didn't really explain how he got there or why he was there. He was just there. Same with Flash Thompson as Venom. Just kind of showed up one day. Now Venom's on the team. Okay, cool. You know, so, and I get the idea as they wanted to have at points the Shield or the Avengers wanted someone to kind of tag along with the Guardians of the Galaxy. They did a better job of explaining Kitty Pryde's relationship, and she's here on the cover. She's engaged now to Peter Quill, which is interesting. You know, so that makes a little more sense, but it's just funny how they're still kind of bringing in all these kind of random characters. So here we are with a new number 1, and you have Drax, you have Groot, you have Rocket Raccoon, but then you have Venom, Kitty Pryde, and the Thing. So, okay, sure. Having said that, it's been done very well. Bendis is awesome. I'd highly recommend the book. I just kind of think Marvel, and DC too, they need to think about the fact when they have a major property that is crossing over into the mainstream, like Guardians of the Galaxy or the Avengers or Spider-Man or whoever it is, it kind of makes sense for the books to line up with what's going on in the movie universe or TV universe. And here's I'll get off my soapbox in a moment with this, but here's something that really blew my mind for a while. Like, there was this whole, the last, I think, Spider-Man movie came out. Now, granted, I realize that's Sony, and Marvel doesn't have as much of an investment in supporting that. But you have a character like Spider-Man. Movie was not super popular, but the people that went and saw the movie, they might want to pick up a Spider-Man book. They go to the bookstore, and at that time, Spider-Man was not Peter Parker. He was Otto Octavius during the time the movie was out. This is going back to the first Amazing Spider-Man movie that came out. And it was kind of like, okay, if I picked up this comic book, I wouldn't really be able to relate to it. I probably wouldn't buy any more. You know, this is the time to really kind of bring out what's great about Peter Parker. Now, in between movies, do some random stuff with Otto Octavius being Spider-Man or whatever you want to do. But, you know, during that time, I think they need to kind of reel in the creators a little bit and say, we need to kind of stick to this formula a little closer. So, I don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy, switching up the team now. Granted, we're in between movies. Maybe by the time the second movie comes out, we'll be back to the original lineup. But, I don't know, it just feels a little weird to me. I don't know. That was a long way to get there, so I apologize. All right, number one pick of the week is The Walking Dead. And of course, it had to be since the show just relaunched a week ago with the new season. So I don't like to talk too much about the details of Walking Dead because I know a lot of people watch the TV show, so I don't want to give out any spoilers or anything, so I would be kind of vague. But this is my pick of the week just because great character interactions again. I really like, here's the thing, and I mentioned this last month too, Walking Dead is a slow burn, especially the comic book. I mean, the TV show is too, but the comic book is especially a slow burn, and not everybody likes that. I love it. I love the character development. I love the interactions with characters. I could read that stuff all day long and be interested without a single zombie showing up or anything like that. So I love this book. This is another issue that's really, you know, there's no bad guy in this issue. There's no, I don't even think there's any walkers in this issue that I can remember. This is just all about the characters and the threats that come from people's emotions and things getting out of check or out of control. Great storyline, and they have a tendency to kind of build up the last page to something that 99% of the time doesn't really follow through to where you think it's going. So the last page of this is another kind of shocking moment, but I don't really think anything's going to happen. But we'll see next month, I guess. So yeah, great book. Pick it up. And that's the haul for the week. Hey, as always, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a good day.